All right, Mr. Wainside, welcome back.
How you doing, Alex? Good to see you, man. It's been a while. It's been a minute.
I'm in the process of regurgitating all the things that happened in the past.
That is great.
I have to consider the most controversial things that happened here. And you're at the top of the list of controversial things that happened here.
It did shake him up a bit.
It took me a while to recover from that.
It did shake him up. It's almost as bad as when I went, I think the year I went back to Alabama, the Civil Rights Institute across the street from the Baptist church that got bombed by the Klan. That was the first place in the South that had enough courage to show that work. And we had my work in one gallery, and the fellow whose daughter died, who was a self-taught photographer who did a lot of civil rights stuff, who just passed away. His work was in the other gallery. So, talking about shaking it up in Birmingham, Alabama, across the street from the 4th Street Baptist Church, you know, that was quite an evening, you know, a lot of emotion. But yeah, when we had the show here, which is about, I don't know, it was 30-something years ago. I don't remember when it was 30. Remember the year?
Go ahead. It's documented.
Okay, so it was a long time ago. But anyway, I left here in '88. I was actually living in Paris with my girlfriend, and I had a friend staying at your old place. She was keeping it for me while I was there. And while I was there, I got a call from the University of Alabama, and they wanted to know if I'd be interested in teaching down there in a regular position. And I said, yeah, I'm going to have to try it for a year or two, you know, maybe see what happens, you know. So 30 years later, you know.
Really?
Yeah, so it's 30 years ago.
How much did that deter you away from what you were doing? I always look at that side of it. You know?
Yeah, well, it did for a bit. I mean, I went back to photographing, you know, basically the way I was photographing before I got back into before I did the Klan, because that was because I wasn't a photojournalist. I was basically trained as an art photographer. I was an art major, and when I got out, I was photographing in old county fairs, and I went to a big state fair in Birmingham, and this was in somewhere around middle 70s, you know, early mid 70s. And I went there, and it was like the last day, and this was a big fair. And I went they had one big pavilion after another, and I was about to leave, and I had all Nikons hanging off of me. I looked down, way down, and I saw way down there something that caught my eye. It looked like I didn't know what I was seeing. I thought I was seeing double. And so I walked down there, and there was a mannequin with a Klan outfit on. And then it was all this Klan memorabilia. And this little skinny gal and the guy standing back there. And they had all these belt buckles and all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, I'm standing with my mouth open, he's talking to me, and I don't even know what he's saying to me. And I'm going, you know, is this a fair? You know, and he's like, and I realize he's saying, well, I didn't think you guys would ever get here. You're finally here. And I'm going, why? He thought I was from the newspaper, you know. And he says, so you going to take some photographs? I said, oh, yeah, I'm going to take some photographs. So I take a few, and he says, can we get some copies? And I said, well, he says, give me your phone number. I said, tell you what, why don't you give me your phone number? And if anything comes out, I'll give you a call. So that is what began the journey, the 4-year journey. I took a few to it, and it was, after that, I sort of got to be on a first name basis with some of them, and followed them around, and kept following them around. And because I didn't know what I had, I didn't know what I was doing. I just thought it was really interesting looking. It was like a kind of a Diane Arbus moment, you know. I was like, I just got out of college, and this is like, I just studied Diane Arbus, you know. took me on a nighttime thing. I didn't know where we were going. I thought they were going to kill me. They said, get in the car, we're going. And this was right after I met him. We're going down through, and they were on walkie-talkies, and they were going down these little dirt roads and so forth. And it was right around Thanksgiving. So we come up in the middle of the night on this just god-awful looking muddy mud holes, and there was these old trailer homes out there, just awful looking trailer homes. So they all piled out, and in the meantime, one of them, they picked up some guy, one of the Klansmen had changed it to a Santa Claus outfit. I don't know if you remember that photograph, but so what they wanted me to do, I realized that they were using me as their publicity photographer. So they go in and they say, we want to give some food to these poor white people. So I go, oh, okay. So the Klansmen, I said, okay, so we'll sit down with the kids over there, Santa Claus. And so I said, you two Klansmen get in here. So there's two Klansmen sitting there, and these little kids are like, so I said, that is a dying artist moment if I have ever seen one. And you had to use a flash, and it's in this thing, old trailer, you know, all this trailer furniture from the early 60s, late 50s. And that was like, well, I might have something here. There might be something going on here. So I kind of followed. I left that. I was living up in Blount County, Alabama. It was a coal mining area. And when I started going to these rallies, I realized that some of the kids I was working with, I was an artist in residence with the State Arts Council. I realized that, you know, I'd see some of the kids with their parents at these things. You know, Mr. Sykes, I saw you at the Klan rally last time. That was you. Yeah, how's your father doing? So I've got another appointment from the State Arts Council. I kind of hated to leave there, but I went to a bigger town, Decatur, Alabama. And it was, and I just happened to arrive there when there was this big evil thing that happened there. Tommy Lee Hines, I think was his name, was a retarded young black guy that they were falsely accusing of raping a white girl, white woman with a girl. And it got heated and hot. The Klan would march one day, the NAACP would march the next day, and I mean it was. And one day, right down the street, it was. I wouldn't leave town. I just wouldn't leave town because I thought something was going to happen. I went, oh, nothing's been happening. My grandmother was sick. I went down to her. The day I left, the Klan ambushed the black protesters as they were marching. They had a shootout 1 block from my house. But maybe I'd have got shot, so I don't know. So maybe it was God intervening, you know, or something. So I got back, and boy, it did heat up after that. And there were new Klan groups starting to spring up all over, and I started following from here to there and all over, just you know. And then, you know, after 4 years, it was getting pretty hot, you know, for me, because they were like very suspicious because I wasn't doing anything with the photographs. Man, what are you doing with them? They thought I was now that I'm working with the FBI. And I went, no, I don't know what, they're just history. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm an artist. You know, right. So I came up here. I had to get the hell out of Dodge, man. So I came here. 4 ways I could go, man. So you gave me a show, and it kind of started the ball rolling after that, you know. And then I stayed here for 4 years, I stayed here for 7 years, and then the teaching position came up, and I went back, and so I taught that, and it was in a different part of the state. I was way up in northwest Alabama.
So you was afraid of being tracked down, huh?
Yeah, it was a little harder to track down. I started going by my first name, not my second name, which is Wayne. Started going by Alan. And I just figured they wouldn't look for me at that college, you know. So yeah, and so I stayed there, you know, and I ended up to retire, and now I'm back, just retired and getting back into trying to do stuff again and seeing what's going on, you know. So, but yeah, I started out as an art photographer.
So what happened to all of that information?
You mean the photographs and
Yeah,
so forth?
the
Well,
negatives.
the Birmingham Museum of Art bought a lot of the original photographs, the original prints.
Prints, okay.
But we just got through a 2-year process of archiving them and scanning them on professional scanners.